I love LeBron James. And I don't mean that I'm a Lakers fan. I'm not. I don't mean that I was ever a Cavaliers fan. I wasn't. And I certainly was a fan of LeBron as a member of the Miami Heat when he opposed our Dallas Mavericks. But I love what LeBron James stands for so much that I'm hesitant to scoff at a claim. Mike Fisher, reporting from Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys, where LeBron James and his story about playing in the NFL is not new. If you follow our coverage of the Cowboys, you're familiar with LeBron saying that, yeah, in 2011, NBA lockout time, I was looking for a little something to do. And Jerry Jones called me and offered me a contract. That story is absolutely true. And it makes sense on a lot of levels. So part of LeBron's story about his relationship with football is true. The now Los Angeles Lakers superstar during that lockout really did get a personal invitation from our man Jerry Jones to try out with your Dallas Cowboys. The other part of the story is a matter of opinion. The part about LeBron's connection with the NFL, this other part is a matter of opinion. And in the opinion of the 6'9", 250-pound former star wide receiver at St. Vincent St. Mary High School in Akron, quote, I would have made the team. I would have tried out, and then I would have made the team. This is a fascinating thing to think about. It always is, isn't it, when we look at, well, first of all, we look at Bo Jackson, who did it. We look at Deion Sanders, who did it. They aren't the first. They are probably the guys that were the most high profile. In the case of Bo Jackson, he might have been the best. He might have been, and I guess I should count Jim Brown playing college lacrosse, but you know what I mean. There's been guys who've been basketball players in the NBA and pitchers in the major league. There's guys. But doing it in the highest level way and the highest profile way, I think Bo and Deion are two really good examples. You obviously have to be incredibly gifted athletically. Gil Brandt, the now Hall of Fame NFL Super Scout, once told me he went to the Florida State campus and he watched Deion, and he realized right then Deion could go to the Olympics and win in track, that he could play baseball, and if he devoted himself to it, would be an all-star, that he obviously is going to be an all-timer in football. And he said Deion could have played pro basketball. And then, you stand next to Deion Sanders, because on TV, he didn't look big. You stand next to Deion Sanders, and, his shoulders are like this. He's not a small man. Not really. So he would have been, he'd been small in the NBA, but he's still, just walking down the street through the mall, one of the biggest guys in the building. So that rare thing that Deion was, that rare thing that Bo Jackson was, is LeBron James that? It is true that when he was in high school, he was an unstoppable force as a pass catcher. I think it's also true, I believe this, that he got recruiting invitations. Now, somebody said he was recruited to Akron, but I think Ohio State called him. And why wouldn't they? He was all-state in Ohio. Surely the Buckeyes called him, at least as a courtesy, even though I assume by his senior year, it was pretty clear he was going to the NBA, and obviously he did so right away. He was 26 in 2011. So age-wise, because now he's 30s. What is he, 36 now? So, okay, that part works. He wasn't that far removed from it. Now, of course, he's a four-time NBA MVP. Might be, he's in the conversation, obviously, he's the greatest NBA player of all time. He's in the conversation as the greatest sports figure of all time. Athletically, championships, all of it. Not just Jordan, Wilt, Russell, but more than that. But how much was Jerry's call to Deion a gesture? Remember, Dion, then and now, high-profile Cowboys fan, big America's team guy. Contacting and Jerry, I don't know if you're aware of this, Jerry's a big marketing guy. So the NBA's in a lockout. LeBron's in the news with nothing to do. LeBron loves the Cowboys. Jerry loves the attention. Let's contact LeBron and invite him on in. Quote from LeBron. One thing about it, I don't mind working for something. So if I would have had to try out for the Cowboys or the Seahawks, who also contacted him, he noted, or if I'd stayed home and went back to Cleveland, the Browns, I'd have tried. I've done the tryout, and then I would have made the team. I just know what I'm capable of doing on the football field, especially at that age. I don't want to be a skeptic about this. I don't want to be a cynic about this. Surely the first time that Dion said, hey, I think I'll go play pro baseball, surely some of us were sitting around going, I don't know, that doesn't sound very logical to me. You sure? Why? What? When Bo Jackson said, I think I'll do both, yeah, that seems awfully tough. For LeBron, obviously things worked out fine. Him and the Heat went on to win the next two titles, 2012 and 2013. Then he got his championship ring with Cleveland in 2016, and then he does it again with the Lakers last year. If you're a Mavericks fan, not to mention a Cowboy fan, you wish he would have gone to Dallas and played football. Harold Carmichael did do this. I'm talking about play in the NFL with a 6'9" body as a receiver. And I still marvel to this day, especially in an NFL where you got to hit guys in ways you don't get to hit guys now. How did Harold Carmichael, who did not weigh 250 pounds, I don't believe, how did not get broken in half? What a gigantic target to hit. I sometimes think the 6'9" quarterback, who was that one kid that played for Seattle? Dan something, 6'9" quarterback. It's almost, he's got plenty of vision, but it's almost too much target to hit. Would LeBron James be able to do it with his body presently? Again, let's do the stand next to test. LeBron James on television looks enormous. In fact, at 6'9", 250, now think about this, you're relatively slender, compared to what 6'9" football players look like. If you're a 6'9" football player, or in that range, you don't weigh 250. You weigh 300 pounds to play football. Was LeBron James going to be a 6'9", 300-pound wide receiver? I can't see it. 6'9", 300-pound tight end? All right, let's pare it down. 6'9", 280 tight end? I can see that, I guess. I'm glad that LeBron said that he would make the team, as opposed to, and I would have gone in there, and we would have won a Super Bowl, and I would have won the MVP, and I would have made 3 Pro Bowls, because that's the hard part. And here's why. And I like what LeBron's doing here. I think it's fun, and I know there's some truth to it. And I think might even be some truth to how successful he might have been had he devoted himself to this. But that leads you to the question, well, then why didn't you do it? I mean, if you could go to training camp and make the Dallas Cowboys team, and there was a lockout in the NBA, why didn't you do it? And I think that's the answer, for me, to why it really, fantasy aside, wouldn't work. I tried to play football. I wasn't very good. You've tried to play football. Most of you weren't good enough. I know, some of you were. Some of you, if it wasn't for that injury, if it wasn't for that mean old coach, if you're only a foot taller or 100 pounds lighter, I know, almost. But the reason most of us don't play in the NFL is a combination of not good enough, 99% of us, and then not wanting to. LeBron James in the NFL, in the NBA, gets to be the punisher. LeBron James in the NFL would have been the punishee. I think LeBron James might have gone to training camp and said, Oh my God. They are about to abuse me. People that are almost as big as me, not as tall, but as big. Defensive linemen who are 6'5", 290, pretty close, are going to try to break me in half. The reason that LeBron James, I say, would not have made it is because he didn't make it. The reason LeBron would not have made it is because he didn't want to make it. Because while playing in the NFL is strenuous, there's no question about it. Playing in the NBA is strenuous. Playing in the NFL is like suicide. And LeBron didn't need it. So LeBron didn't want it. So he picked an easier path. And I think we're all better for it. Fish out.